So the Tennessee Titans are 2-7 on the season, and this is one of the toughest situations to be in the NFL because this team could have easily won two more games this season. They could have went out there. They had the game against the Jets, but Will Levis had the crazy fumble in the red zone. They had the Chicago Bears dead to rights in week 1. Will Levis throws a pick 6 and throws another interception as well, ends the game for the Tennessee Titans. And Will Levis has missed time this season dealing with a shoulder injury as well. They're still sticking with Will Levis. They hope that he can be their franchise guy. That's the only answer that they have, because besides him, you have Mason Rudolph. And Mason Rudolph is not going to go out there and he's not going to be a franchise quarterback long-term for the Tennessee Titans. Will Levis is a young player. He got to play majority of his rookie season last season when Ryan Tannehill went down and when they realized Malik Willis was not going to be their guy. But when I look at the Tennessee Titans right now, they have talent. And I do like Coach Callahan as a head coach. He's a young head coach. He deserves one more season, in my opinion. And they have a really strong defense as well. One of the better defenses in the NFL. The only problem is the offense. That's it. And they can run the football with Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard has been the best free agency pickup so far. And when you also look at Calvin Ridley, I like him a lot, but there's only so much he can do when he can't get the football on a consistent basis. He even came out a few weeks ago and he was upset about that. He's like, can I at least touch the football in the first half? You're getting me the football late in the third quarter and early in the fourth quarter, but I haven't caught a ball in the first 2 quarters of the game. And they've done a better job of that. Mason Rudolph has had a better connection with Calvin Ridley than Will Levis, and that's expected because Mason Rudolph is a veteran. But at the same time, you look at Will Levis, all the potential that he showed last season to go out there and to put up the big numbers. He went out there on the road, defeated the Miami Dolphins. Monday Night Football game. Had a tough outing against the Steelers as well. He showed more potential last season with less talent than he has this season. And it's the dumb fumbles, it's the dumb interceptions. So now Coach Callahan has basically made him a game manager. That's not his forte. Will Levis has 874 passing yards, 7 passing touchdowns to 7 interceptions this season. Except for one game against the Los Angeles Chargers, he's thrown an interception in every single start this season. That is not going to get it done. And against the Los Angeles Chargers, they were outgunned, they were outmatched. He played fine in that game. He was 18 of 23, 175 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, but he got sacked 7 times. That's also another thing with Will Levis as well. The pocket presence is not good. Even though this offensive line, they're still having struggles. You had your general manager, Rand. He went out there. He brought in Calvin Ridley. He brought in Tony Pollard. He brought in Cushenberry at the center position. Cushenberry's going to be out for the rest of the season. He's dealing with a major injury. But even before he got injured, he was not a good center. Last season with the Denver Broncos, he was a top-graded center in the NFL. As soon as he touched down with the Tennessee Titans, he wasn't good. Now you have J.C. Latham, who is continuing to get better on a week-by-week basis. You have Peter Skoronski, who was in year number 2. This is a very young offensive line. But Coach Callahan's dad has been one of the best offensive line coaches in the NFL. I expect for this offensive line to continue to get better over the next few years. Just stick with the coaching staff. But I am worried about Will Levis. This offensive line is still a major issue. He doesn't have much time inside the pocket. And when he does, he looks frantic. Now, they can go out there and they can give him the right offensive line, but a lot of the turnovers are just him playing hero ball. It's not going to work out in the NFL. It's okay to go out there a couple games and take multiple deep shots down the field on a team that cannot go out there and defend the pass. But when you're throwing the football into double coverage and you have wide open wide receivers, that's not going to fly in the NFL. That was able to fly at Kentucky. And Will Levis has everything that it takes to go out there and to be a franchise quarterback. He's tall. He has a big, powerful arm. He has solid mobility. Very good athlete. But you have to have more than just that. You have to have poise and accuracy to work out in the NFL. And right now, he doesn't have that. And the reason why I said this is one of the toughest situations in the NFL. If you end up with a high draft pick, do you select a quarterback? And you already have Will Levis on this roster? Because right now, Malik Willis, in a short sample size, he looked better with the Green Bay Packers than Will Levis right now looks with the Tennessee Titans. And you moved off of Malik Willis. And Malik Willis with the Tennessee Titans, he couldn't get much done. That is a credit to coaching and a credit to having the right roster as well. But when I look at Will Levis, he continues to put the football in harm's way. He's not going to be able to get it done. Like I said again, against the Chargers, one of the best defenses in the NFL, he did a good job of taking care of the football, but he takes a lot of dumb sacks as well. I mentioned Tony Pollard earlier in the video. Tony Pollard has been a phenomenal running back this season. He has 666 rushing yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. Tajay Spears has missed time this season. He's a very good number 2 running back to have. I don't think that he's a true number 1, but he's a very good counterpart to the opposing running back. He was very good last season, playing alongside Derrick Henry. You have Calvin Ridley. You also have Nick Westbrook-Ikine. Nick Westbrook-Ikine has become a very good red zone target. I don't know if he will ever become a legit number 2, but he has 4 receiving touchdowns on the season, and majority of that came with Mason Rudolph. Tyler Boyd, at this stage of his career, he is what he is. He's not going to go out there trying to be a huge game changer. He's definitely on the back end of his career. I would not be surprised if this is his last year in the NFL. He's not the same wide receiver he once was. That slot impact wide receiver, he hasn't been that with the Tennessee Titans. And now look at this defense. I really like their defense. You also brought in L'Jarius Sneed as well. That's what the general manager Rand did. He basically tried to go out there and fix everything. He brought in offensive linemen, drafted a tackle. Their secondary was a problem last season. He brings in a top cornerback from the Kansas City Chiefs. Unfortunately, L'Jarius Sneed does not fit the system with the Tennessee Titans, and he's been injured the last couple of weeks. But even before he got injured, he was one of the worst starting cornerbacks in the NFL. You still have very good defensive linemen. Jeffrey Simmons is a very good player. I like T'Vondre Sweat as well. Long term, that duo is going to cause hell in this division. You also look at Harold Landry. He's a very good pass rusher. Can come off the edge. He's not the same pass rusher that he has been in the past this season, but he's still been able to get to the quarterback on a consistent basis. He's still the top pass rusher to have in the AFC. I look at Amani Hooker. Very good safety. 2 forced fumbles on the season, 3 interceptions, 7 pass deflections. He's a very good player. Roger McCreary, I like him a lot as well at that cornerback position. I think the secondary looks better without L'Jarius Sneed. L'Jarius Sneed has been that terrible this season with the Titans. He's been a huge waste of money and draft capital with the Tennessee Titans. But I look at the Titans right now, I don't know what else you can do. Rand has done everything. You know, you bring in Calvin Ridley, you bring in Tony Pollard, you bring in all these playmakers, and it just did not work out because the offensive line cannot protect Will Levis, and Will Levis is just not a good quarterback at the same time. I think that you give him the rest of the season. If he could play the Tennessee Titans out of having a top 3 to top 5 pick, you hold on to him for one more season because this is one of the worst quarterback draft classes in quite some time. You're going to be competing with a couple of teams at the top to select a quarterback. And there's only 2 quarterbacks, in my opinion, that are worthy of a first-round pick. That's Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. That's it. I don't see anyone else in this draft class is worthy of having a first-round pick. After that, you may be in some trouble if you select a guy like Carson Beck in the first round or the second round. I'm really going to be questioning the Tennessee Titans long-term. But I think right now, based on draft position and how Will Levis is, because it's a lot of good things with Will Levis. Even though the turnovers, they piss you off, he will go out there, he will make a crazy throw, he'll have a crazy run to the right and throw across his body. You tone down those turnovers. And Josh Allen, the first half of his career, those first 2 years were not pretty. Not every quarterback's going to go out there and look like Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, and CJ early in their career. You have to give some guys some time. But based on draft position right now, you may select you one more offensive lineman, preferably at the right tackle position, because this is a strong draft class on offensive lineman and defensive lineman as well. You get your right tackle. You piece that up with J.C. Latham, Peter Skoronski. Hopefully Cushenberry can come back and be a very good center for you. We'll see. And then you can see what you have in Will Levis. Continue to build on that offensive line. If it's me, I would stick with Will Levis, and I would bring in a veteran quarterback in this year's free agency period. Because this team is good enough to go out there and compete on a weekly basis. They're not good enough to go out there and make the NFL playoffs. But they could have easily had 2 more wins this season against a bad Jets team, and you could say against a bad Chicago Bears team as well. But they went out there and they had to lead against the Chicago Bears. Will Levis just has to take care of the football. That's literally it. That's the only thing with Will Levis, besides the missed throws here and there and his footwork being atrocious. But a lot of the problems with the footwork is because the offensive line isn't good. That's why he's one of the most frustrating quarterbacks in the NFL, because he has all the tools. I hope the coaching staff can go out there and develop him over time, and it'll be a very good comeback story for him, because this is a kid that should have been a first-round pick, but he slid out of the first round. Part of it was because of the reason that he has right now, because of the inconsistent play, but a huge arm, the mobility. The kid has superstar written all over him. He's just standing in his own way right now. He's thinking too much. That's it. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you guys feel about the Tennessee Titans, and should they move on from Will Levis this early in his career? And I also look at it from this situation as well. It's very interesting to see what the NFL has turned into over the last decade plus. I remember back in the early 2000s, if a quarterback struggles for 1 to 2 to 3 years, you still hold on to him. You see what you have. Now, a quarterback only has 1 to 2 years. That's it. Then you throw him away. Then they go into a different situation and they look better because of better coaching and a better roster as well. Look at Geno Smith with the Seattle Seahawks. Look at Baker Mayfield with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Sam Darnold right now is a bit iffy with the Minnesota Vikings, but he's having some success over there. So I just wanted to bring that up in defense of Will Levis, because even though I'm being very critical of him, I do want to see him succeed. And it's very weird to look at the Tennessee Titans in this light as well. Just a couple of years ago, this team was atop of the AFC before they dealt with injuries to Ryan Tannehill. This was a team that made the NFL playoffs a couple of years ago against the Cincinnati Bengals. They were just a couple plays away from advancing in the NFL playoffs with Ryan Tannehill, A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry. I believe that they blew that team up for no reason. That was the best they were going to get out of that team at the same time. But you didn't have to blow the team up in that direction. They basically went out there and they got rid of everyone. They should have kept A.J. Brown. Since they traded A.J. Brown, they have been on a downward spiral since then. But I want each and every last one of you guys to stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless. Peace.